It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. I have Mariam Lunge. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How's your weekend?
No, trust me. You don't want to ask because it was a busy week. But let's start with you. How was your weekend?
Fine, thank you. Over the weekend, I was opportune to be part of a meeting where we were talking to people, the book community.
Yeah.
And there was something that I went away.
The FICO community.
I'm telling you. So it's that in Nigeria, for the children's book area, we're getting a lot of authors going into that, and that's fantastic. But then they realize that there's a gap for children in secondary school. So you have young readers, and then in between, they don't have like Nigerian authors. So they're just encouraging authors, would-be authors, to look into that. So you're writing chapter books so that instead of jumping from baby books straight to adult books, you have an intermediate.
The Blightons of the days when we used to grow up as a teenager reading, they don't have anything to.
And Blyton was that teenager?
Well, me, I read that.
I read it in primary school. I read them in primary school.
Yeah, well, I mean, but
they're different. There were different stages.
Yes, they didn't have picture books, so they were not, so as a secondary school, you can still begin to read those.
That's true. So we don't have that.
Yeah.
So authors would be authors. That's a place that you should look at for our teenagers. Yes, you're right.
Cool. How are you doing, Nima?
Fine. Also, I've been educated. I had to go to the hospital again for my eyes. I have this dryness. It's so painful. I have to close my eyes. I'll shut my eyes for, it used to be for maybe a few seconds before and I'll get relieved. And now I have to be shut for hours, put a bag of ice on it just to calm the heat in my eyes. And so the doctor said, we will give you glasses. It's called the reflective glasses. It's to protect your eyes from the sun while you're driving and, the AC and all of that. And since you have refused to use it, so you have to, I can't do anything now, not even watch TV without glasses, according to her. And then she gave me a gel. It was so relieving to put it in the eyes. And I said, I've never heard of this condition until recently. I didn't know that, so that was what was happening to me. So if you have a fan that is constantly in your face, your AC is constantly in your face, and you're looking in the sun, maybe for any reason, you have to reduce it. And I have sensitive eyes. My eyes are actually slightly brown, so I should have known better.
Well, everybody's diagnosis is different, so
yes.
don't go and let it.
No, I'm just educating that this form of thing exists. So in case you're having that dryness, because I actually bought herbs for it.
As expected.
Mama Lao.
So I actually got herbs for it. I'm not saying the herbs are not working, but I'm saying that it's actually a condition you should see doctors for and follow instructions.
And she still did Oyinbo recommendation at some point after the herbs. Anyway, I was in Maiduguri on Saturday. It was fun. It was nice. It was a good experience. It was my first time in that area. I mean, I wasn't scared, actually. I just
feel
felt
so proud of you.
Honestly. I went there. In fact, they said, where we go? We've been to Sambisa Forest. Oh. Like, we've been there. But I was seeing how vast the land is, how there are clusters of villages, and they're miles and miles apart. So I can understand why when things happen, we don't probably hear until days after. So, it was a learning experience for me. It was a nice community. I mean, it was, listen, there are different parts of this country which we must love, we must appreciate their differences, and love that difference. And I think that was when it was really powerful as a nation.
So it really helped. So you have new perspective?
I absolutely have a new perspective. I mean, I was able to have the empirical observation of, okay, how would the lawmakers on this end work with lawmakers from my end? Because obviously they're different. Their experiences are different. With how the people follow them, the followership is different from this side of town. So when you come into the National Assembly, you're talking and you're debating, you realize that the other person, his constituency are not the kind of things we're demanding. So he will only defend based on his own experience and understand. So
you understand why the gender bill didn't make it?
Yeah, I can get it because they're just different angles. But it was interesting. I mean, I would love to go to the north more. I would definitely love to go there more, just to learn more and have a broader perspective to Nigerian life. But also yesterday was a Christmas concert with Osanach. I had fun. It was fun. It was nice. I mean, it was a great experience. I just had a great time last night. So it was a packed full weekend. Let's go on a break. And we return. We go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. Wike, same faith, not reason to dump Southern candidate. Ipman to get petrol direct from NNPCL. NDLEA seizes drugs in powdered milk, baby food at Lagos Airport. Nobody can split G5 ally, says Bode George. INEC begins PVC distribution today. Presidency defends Emefiele over the alleged 89.1 trillion naira stamp duty collection. And Lekki Deep Sea Port promoters shop for $800 million to link rail line. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Let me start with NDLEA.
Yeah.
So NDLEA is reporting that on the 5th of December, a suspect, one Dinobi Charles Uchemadu, was arrested at the Murtala International Airport. In his luggage were 2.70 kg of cocaine were found factory sealed within his travel bag, and also at the export shed of the airport. On that same day, an agent, Ewedli Chibuke Cyril, was arrested because they found that cans of powdered milk, baby food, and beverages that were used to conceal 3.4 kg of cannabis headed for Dubai and UAE. There was also another arrest. There are just so many, but there was a follow-up operation at the Aspamda Market, that's Trade Fair Complex, Ojo. Then the Akala Notorious Drug Hub in Mushin area of Lagos. They said no fewer than 15 drug dealers, including 2 ladies, were arrested with over 1,000 kgs of cannabis sativa, and also Lagos Island, where they seized over 35,000 pills of tramadol, diazepam, Rofinol, and codeine syrup. Well done, as usual. Well done, NDLEA.
Okay, so Aspanda is not in Ojo, it's in Amo Odofi.
Okay.
It's just by my house.
Ojo area.
Yes. Ipman, the NNPC have, gone into this meeting with major marketers. And, major marketers have been the one helping out. They've been the one who retained the 170 naira or below the 170 naira per litre price throughout this scarcity. So they had a major meeting between Ipman, the MOMAN, that's the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, the DSS, NNPC, and all of them. I'm trying to get all the details of them. Okay, Ipman, NNPCL, MOMAN, DEPOS, Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, and the DSS. And, in this meeting, they agreed that NNPC will continue to give, continue to be the source of petroleum product distribution in the country. But Ipman, as a member, as a body, will no longer be allowed to find oil by itself, so that they can then continue to join the major marketers to sell within the price. So they have been the one who have continued to sell above at 200 and all prices, and they insist that they cannot get it at a higher price and be made to sell below profit. So the meeting, at the conclusion of that meeting, they agreed that they will subsequently get from the NNPC for their supply, and that that will sort of reduce. But I don't understand the part that the DSS is supposed to play in this. So if it is to investigate how they get their price, are they going to stop it at the depot in Ijegun? Because Ijegun is where Ipman is getting their supply. Their tankers are blocking us. So what exactly would the DSS
involvement would be?
Yes, will be.
Okay, let me take the major headlines. So I'm very interested in Governor Wike's stories. So you spoke yesterday at the Special Dedication Service for the River State PDP general election campaign rallies in Port Harcourt yesterday, and he was speaking, and he had through his special assistant of media, Kelvin Ebiri, and he was maintaining that there is no justification for condemning the Muslim ticket, especially when they've accepted. It seems that those proponents against Muslim tickets were also not seeing the fact that retaining power in the north, where the current president is from, is equally bad. So that saying that the country, that those of you that say that the country is not right for a Muslim ticket should also be courageous to decry the abolition of the presidential zoning of the PDP to the north. And he was just saying that we're speaking with two sides of our mouth.
It makes a lot of sense.
It was not that you play on people's intelligence. You say Nigeria is not ripe for that, but Nigeria is not also ripe for, we're going hot and cold, not also right. So that's pretty much what he was saying. And in the same vein, Ashwaji was in Oyo State in the same paper article, says that the Tinubu-Shetima will be fair to all, the reset economy for faster growth, and the president drums support for all APC candidates across the country. Okay, let's move on. Another story. The Punch, withdrawal limits will cripple campaign funding, says parties. NNPC raises major oil marketers from 7 to 27. 15 drug dealers caught in notorious Lagos community. Debt servicing to gulp 123% of 2023 revenue. 33 states lack landfills dispose waste openly, says report. 439 foreign trained doctors failed the assessment exam, says MDCN. And I can't understand Boko Haram phenomenon, says article. Okay. Which story are we starting with, Mariam? Any story there?
Okay, so I was just trying to get it all together. Anyway, I'm taking the total of 439 foreign-trained medical and dental graduates failing the assessment examination conducted by our Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria. So they say it was a 2-day assessment. It was conducted November 23rd and November 24th at the Usman Danfodio University Hospital in Sokoto. And it was said that 916 foreign-trained medical candidates sat for the examination, but only 477 passed. That's about half. 24 candidates sat for the examination in dentistry, 8 passed and 16 failed. There's also 892 candidates sat for the medical examination, 469 passed and 423 failed. He was also explaining that it's a global practice that if you train in a particular jurisdiction and you want to go to another jurisdiction, you must subject yourself to this sort of assessment examination. Even if you're a professor of medicine here and you practice in the United Kingdom or United States, when you're moving to another jurisdiction, you must be able to go through that assessment and examination. And it just seems like the foreign-based ones have not brought themselves up to speed on what is needed to pass our exams. I know that our Nigerian counterparts spend many months or years of training and practicing so that when they get there, they pass. Maybe there's this almost, you know, like, what can they possibly ask you in Nigeria? So, yeah.
Well, the National Coordinator of Clean Up Nigeria has released the reports on their findings across the country, and it's sad to find out that only 3 states out of the 36 states and the FCT have landfills. Other states, 33 states within the country do not have, so they have open dump sites where they do not manage, you know, their waste properly. And this has sort of increased our sanitation-related diseases from 32% to 51%, further tipped up by 51.2% with the recent flood. So we'll have more diseases to contend with because of, you know, this non-planning. I think waste management, waste recycling, these are not on the exclusive or whatever areas of the Constitution. State governors, local governments can, you know, also set up and manage this. This report is something every serious government should work with. Only Lagos, Abuja, and Oyo, and Bauchi have proper waste systems. So it's a serious problem.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm still reviewing the papers in Punch and the major headlines. So withdrawal limits will cripple campaign funding, says parties. Many of the parties are complaining bitterly that this limit on withdrawals would totally cripple the campaigns. SDP, ADC, PDP, and many others. Let me even read exactly from the Social Democratic Party. Alpha Mohammed was saying specifically that you cannot overnight bring a policy that will seriously affect the project as a project as big as the general elections. He said cash has to move. People have to pay for logistics. You have to give cash to agents. You have to give cash to those who are going to transport people to rallies. You know, it's definitely going to affect the success of the elections and the campaign itself. And this is being echoed across all the parties. Some of you say that they might have to write to CBN for a waiver for this period. But said policy would, he said if Buhari had no access to funding in 2014, would he ever be president today? That what are you talking about? That this policy has to be reviewed, or they have to be given a waiver, at least for the campaigns to go smoothly, which is an important point because that cash moves during elections. Sorry?
Interesting perspective.
Yeah, the rallies, you have to give money. Are you going to be saying transfer? Well, the right thing is for us to actually transfer the money for the logistics company to move people. So I mean, that's the right thing to do, but we don't get that in this part of the world. Let's also move quickly now to Daily Sun. Tinubu article fight dirty. He'll destroy Nigeria APC candidate warns. No going back on Obi Middle Belt Forum says NDLE arrests Brazil returnee with parcels of cocaine in baby food at the Lagos airport. Retaining presidency in the north is bad as Muslim Mutikitike said Wike. At Obiora Okonkwo's book launch, Ayim Saraki Nwosu others push for true federalism. PDP crisis, not war, but misunderstanding, Tambol tells Otom. Boko Haram, there's no forest in Sambisa, says Atiku. Attack on police, Enugu CP orders personnel to remain in barracks. Which story are we taking?
So the Commissioner for Police, Enugu State Command, Ahmed Amani, has ordered police officers and their men under the various units and formations in the state to remain in their barracks until further notice. And this signal was ordered all officers and personnel in the state to remain in their barracks. And this is because of the security situation in Enugu State. The police has been almost under constant attack, by unknown gunmen, thugs, or whatever. And so they've asked every police officer, all their men, to be in the barracks until they are told otherwise. And they said that any officer who does not comply with this would be isolated and investigated, and also would face severe disciplinary actions. So, for me, it just brought the question, like, okay, so you're asking them, are we asking the police officers to stay in barracks so that the police can investigate who is it a collusion? They think that maybe somebody is colluding with these gunmen and causing havoc to the police officers, or is this a way also maybe to punish the state and say, okay, if we take our men off, let's see. I'm not sure. This was just, my own thinking, and I would like to hear more from the police, from the IGP. Let's hear what they have to say. How long will the police be away from, manning and protecting the state? Whether we like it or not, that's their job. In protecting the police, is this in protecting the police or in punishing Enugu State? Please, I would like to know.
Okay, so you took Atiku. So Atiku was saying that he has met, when he was asked by the Nigerian Tribune in Abuja concerning his relationship with the G5, he was saying specifically that he has met with Wike 2 times in Port Harcourt, 2 times in Abuja, and 1 time in London, and he has done his own part, that he's just waiting for Wike to get back to him. He says that they've met, and that rather it is right from when they held their conventions, instead of the leadership deploying his internal dispute resolution mechanism, but they went on with their way, and it's arrogance and nonchalant attitude, and nobody has cared to reach out to us. And even when they voiced out the things, things are not done well. So according to what Atiku was saying, is that he has tried to do his own part by seeing, and the internal ways of resolving this issue, not going on the rampage that Governor Wike did. But he has done his own part. He's waiting for Governor Wike, therefore, to reach out to him to agree on what has been offered so far. So we're waiting for that to happen. But Governor Wike obviously is adamant on insisting that unless IU goes, he's not going to negotiate with anybody. Okay, moving on quickly now to Vanguard. Atiku Tinubu in verbal war over bid for power and wealth. APC, PDP disagree over political attacks in Osun. Niger Delta, groups sue Buhari, others for over NDDC board. Stamp duty recovery, Buhari panel legitimate. Scribe replies Garba Shehu. Anti-thuggery committee demolishes APC campaign office in Gusau. 625 billion naira refunds. Seraps gives 9 oil-producing states 7 days to disclose spending. Second Niger Bridge, heavy-duty vehicles won't use it for now, says FRSC. And Olaolu Mudashiru, the Vita Capital co-founder, killed in hit-and-run accident. Okay, which story are we
starting? Let me quickly say Serap. So, in an open letter dated 19th of December, the Serap Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, said that the organization is asking that it is in public interest to publish, asking the governors who get the 13% oil derivation, that's Abia, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Edo, Delta, Rivers, Ondo, Imo, Cross River states, to publicly give details of, the 625 billion naira recently paid to them by the federal government as 30% derivative, by providing and widely publishing the spending and the projects for which these monies have been spent. And they say that this conforms correctly, complies with the Freedom of Information Bill. The public deserves to know where these monies have been spent, and they agree with the president's, the president is presently doing his scorecard, and he's talked about how he's paid these monies to the state governors who have not said anything about how they've expended the money.
It's good to know that Seraph can move the torchlight from Buhari to...
Yes, they can. They don't hold anything. And also this second Niger bridge that has been, announced by the Minister for Works that, would commence use by December 15th. The controller, the Anambra State Sector Commander for Federal Safety, Mr. Adeoye Irelewi, says that, that the end of the bridge from Delta to Anambra would commence operation for December 15th to January 15th, and that only motorists and cars are allowed to ply the bridge for now because, it's a temporary opening. And also from January 15th from January 2nd to the 15th of January, inwards back towards the south will be open for use because of, every duty vehicle should continue to use the old bridge and all of that.
All right.
Well done.
Yeah, we have to run.
Just quickly to say that INEC has said that PVCs, people can go to start collecting PVCs, and that the registration centers will be open even Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, fantastic. I'll go check for mine tomorrow, even maybe after today. I'm going to see if it's ready. If it's ready, I'll let Nigerians know so that they can also go check us. All right, that is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So for those of you that live in Lagos or apply the Lagos-Ibadan expressway, this segment is for you. And we have with us to discuss what's happening on that corridor is the Zonal Director, Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Engineer Adedamola Kuti. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now, you work for the Ministry of Works and Housing. And one of the reasons I brought you here, because your ministry specific, I'm speaking slowly so we don't miss any words. Your ministry specifically told us that by December, Lagos-Ibadan expressway will be completed. In fact, Nigerians have been hearing this, it will be completed for years, since maybe this person just that it will be completed. And you promised us that it won't shift. Today, we are hearing that now it has been moved to
March.
Is it March? Yes, March 2023. I'm thinking government has come again. They say, and then they shifted. Please, when would Lagos-Ibadan be completed? No, that's not the question. Why?
Was Lagos-Ibadan
completed? Will be completed by the end of this year? That's the question.
Yeah, thank you very much. In Nigeria is a developing country. And when you have contract administration, you're bound to have one form of challenge or the other. It could be funding, it could be weather, it could be anything. But as far as Lagos-Ibadan is concerned, we don't have funding issue.
So there's money.
There's money. Yes, it's being funded by NSIA, and Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, funding it. But you see, in the last few months, we had very terrible, like increased rain, which also affected us. And then, of course, even to you as an individual, if you have your personal projects and you plan to finish it at a particular time, issues can come up, prices can change, all sort of things can happen that may affect your movement. So government projects, we are also not out of this kind of problem. So, but the most important thing is our work is going. We are on target. We are focused on it. You didn't
answer my question, no. You told us there's funding. Why?
Did
you don't meet? There's funding, so there's money. So
there's
money.
I just told you that weather.
Rain.
Okay, rain is
weather.
Okay. Weather. No, I'm not saying rain.
Weather. Weather.
Entirely.
Okay.
weather affected us.
Okay.
And then, of course, you see, when you are walking like where we are now, around that OPIC area, you see, we discovered a particular stretch, been giving us probably, once you walk on a road, you realize you need to do all your necessary tests before you can move to the next level.
Okay.
And then we discovered that it was not giving us the desired result.
Okay.
So we spent more time there. And then, of course, between the period that we started this road in 2013 and now, prices have changed.
Okay,
a lot of things have happened. But whichever way, we have resolved some of those issues. And then we are focused, we are working in that direction. And by the grace of God, this road will be delivered. What you have as funding is just very, very few kilometers.
I would like, for information, for us to have more, in details, because you just took it out of my mouth. I wanted to talk about, because you had talked in the papers about the Ibadan end and then the Lagos end, the difference in the traffic and how it was affecting your work earlier in the year. I read that in the paper. So I would like to understand what exactly was those findings that you had to do more testing about, and what did you do about them, so that we'll see a longer lasting road at the end of this project?
Okay. Now, like when I mentioned testing, in terms of materials, over the years, you discover that there are some sections of the road, people have turned them to refuse dump.
Okay.
They have turned them to refuse dump. And then those things, by the time you now come up to come and fix them, you need to walk on that stretch. It will be different from the normal
You didn't see it
walk.
before you started.
Okay, so I was...
So there is no way you can see everything. You understand me? And then the kind of condition you will see around Kara may not be the same thing as you will see around Mowe area. So there are two different aspects.
Yeah, so for me, I don't really want to just beat government and flog them and overflog the issue about giving us a particular time and then not meeting up to the time. So first of all, I recognize that government is doing a good job. It's trying to make sure that by the time they're done, we'll have quality road for commuters. So well done. But I would just like to ask that because the climate that we're in, there's a lot of mistrust for government. And I feel that in communicating some things, maybe government needs to do some proper work done before they can make some announcements, so that it does not detract from the hard work that government is putting on the ground. So when you say, oh, we have moved it from December to March, people are not now concentrating on the work that's still going on the fact that government yet again is not sticking by its words. That means how can we even trust the government to even give us, the road that they're saying that they will give us? So what do you think going forward when it comes to communicating government's plans and actions that you need to do to put in place, so that when you say to Nigerians, this is the time, you make, at least it should be close, because December 2022 to March 2023, that's quite a long time.
December 2022 to March 2023.
Extension.
3 months.
It's still a lot. December was not the first date, remember?
Let me just say this. Like, on the first notes, we are now right inside the dry season. This is going to be the peak of the dry season between now and March. So we are not likely going to have issues bordering on weather. So work is starting, we are pushing.
Yeah, so my question is, why did we not put all this into consideration before giving Nigerians a time?
In December.
I just told you that there were so many issues that even you, on your own personal level, if you have a project to do, and then you start the project,
okay,
along the line, prices change, which you did not envisage.
Okay.
It
I get
will
that
affect
prices change, but there's one crucial aspect which I think I'd like you to address, and it borders around your relationship with FRSC. See, we're expecting the FRSC to join the conversation very soon. But what I think is extremely crucial, people can have, road work can go on for 10 years. Nigerians don't even care. As long as there's organization between you, your people, Julius Berger, whoever company you're using, and the FRSC, somebody's ensuring. So nobody's just saying, oh, it's FRSC, well, it's a headache, let them go and sort it out. Or Julius Berger, it's your job, go and sort it out. No, we need all of you, this tripartite relationship, to ensure the smoothness of traffic, especially, that's what Nigeria, because Nigerians are having headache. Our staff are having to bike. leave their bus to bike for kilometers to get to work. That place there's a huge gridlock. So my question is, what are you doing as a regulatory body, somebody from federal, to ensure that Julius Berger, the FRSC, and the local LASMA are working together so that Nigerians can stop suffering in that traffic?
Also add the police because of the insecurity that is happening along that stretch.
Yeah, thank you very much. I can assure you that we work together. We are working together. As a matter of fact, sometimes ago, I was with the Commissioner of Police in Ogun State. Because the long stretch on that road is in Ogun State. Even FRSC has a dedicated officer, a corridor commander on that road that is dedicated to Lagos-Ibadan itself, that is out of the sector command. We have a corridor commander there. And of course, even the trace in Ogun State and LASMA in Lagos. So we are all stakeholders in this business. And we work together. Anytime we have our traffic management plan, they all have inputs there. And then, of course, we get all this traffic management plan designed with their inputs and get it approved. So whichever way, we work together and we are still working together. As we finish this road, later today, in the next couple of hours, we are going to open that stretch. And then we're going to open that stretch along Opik. Because even though we promised 15th of December, now we have already reached a level where we can allow traffic to make use of that road. So that the suffering, instead of waiting till Thursday, we now decided that the Honorable Minister has already approved that you should go ahead. And if you have completed it, you move it. So we are working together.
I don't know. I'm not. It doesn't sound
convincing. Not convincing
at all. Because when politicians, when government says, "I can assure you," many of us hate that phrase. You can't assure us because we're not. The indices that we're seeing is not assuring us. So when I say, "I can assure you," it totally throws Nigerians off. But let me come back. When I go on a break, I think our FRSC commander is here. He'll join the conversation after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining the conversation now is the Ogun Sector Commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Umar Ahmed. Will be joining us now. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, TVC.
Yes, good to have you on the show with us. So we've been discussing with the engineer, Adida Malakuti of the Ministry of Works and Housing concerning the work the FRSC is doing, especially on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway corridor, where the traffic is concentrated on. Could you give us some kind of insight in what you know, what's being done to ease traffic along that corridor?
Okay, thank you. Actually, it has been quite hectic for the FRC and other collaborating agencies in the traffic management along that corridor while the construction works lasted. It has not been easy. The slow movement of vehicles coupled with route violations, that is people following one way, both motorcycles and motor vehicles. It was extremely very, very challenging for all of us. But we thank God now that the works have come to completion by the Julius Berger, and I must give them that commendation. I give kudos to Julius Berger and the Federal Ministry of Works for meeting up the target. In fact, they promised on or before 15th of December, and they have delivered before the 15th of December. It's very commendable. I must commend the Federal Ministry of Works and the Julius Berger for that effort. Thank you.
I think there's a miscommunication.
One of the difficulties experienced during the works happening on that road is that, people go against traffic. As the federal roads...
Let us address
the miscommunication.
Let's because we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Because the sector commander is saying they've completed. The sector commander, we have the Ministry of Works here. And he's also telling us that they have extended the completion to March 2023. So it's not completed. I know it's a very nice thing to say that they've completed. They have not completed. And it's okay. We're trying to see how to ease ease the traffic, because while we're waiting to march for completion, we're transferring so nobody completed anything. Go ahead, Nima.
Okay, I was asking that, as the people managing traffic on that road, how is it possible that you allow people, I would make these allegations, people who have police details attached to them, people who have military, wearing military uniform, start a one-way that, encourages other people abuse traffic rules on that road while construction is happening?
I can say this is the wrong allegation. We don't encourage people in uniform to commit road violations.
Allow? How do you allow them?
We don't allow them. We don't allow anybody to commit road violation on that road. What happened is, if they come with their force of strength against our boys, we just have to stand down to disallow any possible fracas between the agencies. You understand?
Yeah.
Based on esprit de corps. But we don't allow. When we are...
So do you catch anybody? Do you make examples of anybody so that to deter?
Yes, we did. I personally made arrest of police escorts. Again, the commissioner of police did same several times. I have the video clips, but I don't want to show it so as to avoid any rancor. But we have made arrests of uniformed personnel doing that. Again, the commissioner of police several times, when he's on transit on that route, he stopped to walk, turn people back, or even made some arrests. So it's not that we encourage people to commit route violation.
Right. Okay.
Okay. I just want to know, Christmas season is here, and we understand that that road will be even more busy during this period. And I would like to find out what plans you have as the work is yet to be completed.
Yes. On this note, I must start by commending the federal government and the acting commercial, Dauda Ali Diu, Federal Safety National Headquarters, for empowering Ogun State Authority with more logistics and personnel. If you observe very well, you will find that there is very high visibility of the authority along that corridor. Recently, 10 new vehicles were injected on that section of the Lagos-Ibadan expressway alone. From Ogomaki, that is our border with Oyo State, Onigari, up to Karaopik, 10 new vehicles were injected onto that expressway. And this has increased FRC visibility greatly. And within a space of interval of 7 kilometers from Onigari up to Karaopik, you will find FRC team on both sections, both inward and outward Lagos. So this is a great development. That is one. Secondly, we are also synergizing with other security agencies. Now that the road is open, to mitigate against cases of speeding on that road. Because during the construction exercise, there was low movement of vehicles there, and we recorded minimal number of crashes. But now that the road is open and very good, people will be prompted by the goodness of that road to speed. So we're synergizing with other...
Hello, sir. Okay, I think we lost the connection with our core Commander. I'll come to you, Commander Omar Ahmed from the FRSC. We'll try to link up with him a bit later. Okay, sir, based on what he has just told us, Nigerians somewhat have an idea what the issue is. Because when he came on, he was telling us with confidence that you've completed, and was giving you kudos. The federal government, Julius Berger, fantastic work we've done. And what that communicates to me as a Nigerian is that that's part of the problem. The information you are getting, the feedback you're getting concerning what is actually going on may not be totally accurate, because they say the things you want to hear, the things that is automated in their system, like, oh, it's completed, fantastic, kudos to all of you, you're doing a fantastic job. But the truth is that the people are suffering. So I think that is feedback to you, and I'd like to maybe something you can take back, where back in the day when we knew former Governor Fashola, we would see him on the road with his things, almost commanding traffic. So maybe we need the ministry or the people like you to come to the ground, See for yourself. So when they're giving you reports, you know that they've not cordoned off certain roads. People are still, there's a lot of congestion. There's a lot of insecurity on that road. People are suffering. So when you see the reality on ground, maybe you can better advise on what should be done, because it's clear there's a miscommunication between the FRSC, maybe Julius Berger, and yourself. Could you help us address that a bit?
Yeah, thank you
How would
very
you respond
much.
to that?
There is no issue around that. Let me start by responding to what the question Miriam threw up. Like, we just had our Ember Month briefing just on Thursday last week, and then we clarified that issue. On all our roads, we've already, like, we were able to, we even invited FRSC, we invited Ritian, we invited NATO, and then, of course, FEMA and all the people, all the other stakeholders. So, like, during this period of Ember Months, we've already directed our contractors and our field officers to ensure that there is, all the palliative, where palliative works need to be carried out are carried out. Okay. And a part of the Ember Months program is for us to shut down sites on the 15th of December, not to open up new sections that cannot be completed before 15th of December, and then wherever we are, ensure that people, all the barriers on the road are removed so that our people can have, smooth ride during the Ember Months. And then, you see, so like I also mentioned to you that there is a corridor commander on this Lagos-Ibadan that has been given that job of overseeing Lagos-Ibadan itself. That is his own job.
So we'll get...
And we, from time to time, we work together. He's a major stakeholder.
So he's the right person to give us feedback on that corridor?
Yeah.
That's Mr. Kennedy Hamzat. Okay.
Yes, he knows because he works with us. We work together. We carry out all the necessary things. We take decisions together.
Okay.
And so for us, by something we are supposed to have concluded, maybe we are already looking at 15th of December. Now, by today, we should be opening up all those areas. Like we did last week, a week ago, this section from Old Toll Gate, that 7-Up area, up to Tedola Bridge, when it was completed up to Binder Course, rather than us waiting for 15th of December, we opened it up. Okay. And you can't see any traffic on that stretch again. Same thing is going to apply to this stretch. Okay. Instead of us to wait, rather than wait for Thursday, 15th of December, now that we have completed it, and we do not want to open up any new section that will not be able to complete by Thursday. So we are going to open up all those areas. And then, of course, we will ensure that, road traffic signs are installed at strategic locations to ensure that our people, have a seamless drive.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines and take some more messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Ogun State Sector Commander of the FRSC, Umar Ahmed, with us. But before we come to the question for you, Mariam was going to take a story.
Okay.
Concerning
yes, so I had taken the story this morning in The Sun, where it was reported that the Commissioner of Police in Enugu State had asked the police officers to be confined in their barracks until further notice. And the police command, the Enugu State Police Command, has sent in a rejoinder. It says, a purported viral order asking police personnel in Enugu State to leave their duty post and remain confined to barracks is unfounded, false, misleading, and an act of mischief intended to cause panic. And so the CP has enjoined citizens to disregard the baseless report, reiterates the command's commitment to professionally discharge its duty. Okay. And this was signed by DSP Daniel Ndukwe, ANI PR, Police Public Relations Officer, Enugu State Command, State Headquarters, GRA, Enugu. Okay, fantastic. So you had a question for the sector commander, right?
It's a joint question I'll quickly do with Engineer Kuti here. So I was worried when you said that you don't really have a problem with, assistant agencies that are also working on that road. That bothers me because I'd expect that just not only are you people working together, you also like checking excesses of each other. There are strong allegations of corruption happening and worsening the hardship going on that road, in the sense that people get paid to allow the one-ways happen. The sector commander, I will still ask him on, the same question, but what are you doing that, to check these excesses and even report them so that we know for sure that, they are working?
Can I start with the sector commander to answer that, then I'll come to you first. Sector commander, did you get the anonymous question, please? Corruption.
Yes, I got the question.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. You see, this allegation of corruption is baseless. It's false.
If you see an evidence in video, sir.
It's false. What I told you, yes, I have the videos of where we enforce against route violation by uniformed personnel. So it's not that we condone it or encourage it in any way. You understand? And you should also know that FRC operates only at certain times from 6 a.m. in the morning to 6 p.m. in the evening, where we withdraw back to base from active duty unless there's an emergency that we respond to promptly after that hour. So maybe, perhaps, this misdemeanor occur within that period when FRC was not actively on routine patrol. It may not be ruled out. That is my take on that.
All right. So would you like to address?
Yeah, this is an allegation I'm just hearing for the first time. And I don't want to use the word I show you now. I will investigate it and then take it up with the CP as well as the FRSC. Because we do not want, because part of the problem on that road has to do with people who drive against traffic.
Yes.
And once you go, like, whatever way, it's a moving traffic we have on that road. And no matter what, I did a simple arithmetic the other time, that if you are driving within a construction zone at the speed of 30 kilometers per hour, 30 kilometers per hour on your car, within a very short period, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you should be out of that place. So, but the issue we have been facing there is that when people drive against traffic or as they are getting to the diversion area, you don't want to give way to the other person. And once there is any little brush, it creates one form of problem or the other. And before you know what is happening, you have a tailback of, towards the other end. And then from there, it results in a lot of delays and gridlock. So for us, those who even, encourage this kind of a thing, will investigate it and then see what can be done. I will tell you that we'll see how there can be an improvement.
Okay, so can I ask? Okay, so, FRSC has just opened explained to us that the active duty closes at about 6 p.m. And earlier I spoke to you about the season and how traffic is even worse during this time. So since we know that they close at 6 p.m., we know Nigerians will take advantage of that time to even be more unruly. During your meetings for the Ember month preparation, can you put in place some form of activity by FRSC and police during the 6 p.m. to morning period to protect commuters and also to make sure that there's still better flow of traffic during the evening and night period?
One thing is that once the barriers are removed, today, you won't see this gridlock again. Okay. And then we'll still be in touch with the CP. We're always in touch. He calls me regularly and, we review activities on that road. So wherever we need to call me, we'll call. But once the barriers are removed today,
so let me be sure because Nigerians understand. December 15th, the barriers will be removed.
Today, not
today. Yeah, today is 12th too. Are you sure?
Yeah, it was supposed to be December 15th. But because we have now completed the job up to the binder course, rather than waiting till Thursday,
so the binders will remove today.
So we can even celebrate that part.
You can go
once it is removed today, you are saying there'll be free flow of traffic.
Sure.
So we can call you tomorrow
Yeah.
If
right?
there isn't.
On the show.
Sure.
If it's not removed, we'll get our people to go there today.
No problem.
Okay, Nima, go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to
Hold
talk
me
about
for
this almighty tunnel that, you know, people had to start resorting to due to traffic. They said the boys dug this tunnel. Did you see this tunnel during construction? What do you plan to do about it? You know, the one that was later flooded. What do you plan to do about it? How does it affect your work?
You see, the issue is that we are on this corridor, Lagos-Ibadan. All these going towards this other area, you see, they do not form part of the road. And apart from that, those areas, you have gas pipeline along that area. So when people tell us, give us alternative route, give us this, give us that, I cannot divert vehicles, you know, on areas where you have gas pipeline. It's not possible.
So
and our people are just taking unnecessary risk. So all those areas we have gas pipeline there, and it does not form part of the road. So everybody, we urge them to be very patient. Even when we resume our work, just be very patient. Don't drive, be disciplined. You learn discipline, don't drive against traffic. Whatever issue that we have, it's going to be a moving traffic. Okay. And of course, wherever you have construction area, construction zone, the allowable speed is 30 kilometers per hour.
Right. I have to let you go, but let me just round up with our Ogun State Sector Commander. So we have to wrap up. There's the issue of insecurity that Nima raised earlier that I'd like you to just touch on a bit more, especially in the evening. So I know FRSA closes at 6 p.m., but once the roads are cordoned off, how do you help guarantee the free flow of traffic in that corridor, especially after your men have closed? What are you doing to work with the Nigerian police to make sure it's done?
When you see the fact of opening the road, the moving all the barriers, is an enough assurance that there's going to be very free and smooth flow of traffic. Then secondly, even while we are not actively on duty, we have standby tow trucks and towing vehicles. In case of any obstruction of the road, we respond promptly to come and remove those obstructions. And of course, in case of any crash, whatever, we respond adequately and swiftly to remove those obstructions and take the victims to the nearest medical center for treatment. So this, I can assure you, to borrow the words of my brother, I can assure you there is no problem. Even if we are not actively on patrol there, our presence is ever felt on that corridor.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Let me let you go at this time. We've just speaking with the Ogun State Sector Commander, Umar Ahmed.
Thank you.
Sir, before I wrap up, I mean, it's important for us to give you this feedback as a people. The government lingo, you know, of, I can assure you, or the people are not, and there's a phrase they use, no one will encourage criminality. Absolutely. No, you're not supposed to encourage criminality, but it happens. And that's why it's part of the job of government to ensure it doesn't happen. Nigerians, you see, what I would have liked to see is when Nigerians are passing that road, there's the picture effect. There's something pictorial of, okay, this is what the road, these are the areas cordoned off, this is the legal, so people know. You see, once we have information, they're not animals, they'll definitely go. But once there's nobody telling us where to go, people will just take the initiative and go on those gas pipeline areas. They shouldn't go. So we would like you to understand that government agencies have a government lingo. They talk that they know that you want to hear. So because of that, please try to be more available, more present, where you're not just getting feedback, but you are there to observe, hand out the empirical evidence of what's going on, so you can now better advise on what to do. Maybe that's another way of helping the situation. I have to go, sir.
Thank you very much, but let me just state this.
Yes.
Let me just state this, that as far as Lagos-Ibadan is concerned,
Yes.
there is nobody who does not know that this is the expressway.
Yeah.
But our people, you know, take it upon themselves because they are in a hurry. You want to go on, you know, you create another alternative road for yourself.
Yeah.
You see, so once we have a road, and then, of course, it's no longer news that the road is under construction. And, of course, when you are getting to the construction area, there is very likelihood that you have to slow down. So our people, we want to appeal to them, once again, to continue to obey traffic rules, be lane discipline. We shall get there. On this note, I want to wish them a very Merry Christmas and a very prosperous 2023. Drive safely. And then, of course, once the barriers are removed, please don't drive above 100 kilometers per hour.
And government, don't change March 2023 to
Don't change
December 2023. We're not here.
This road will be commissioned by this administration.
Not here.
By the grace
That's
of God.
all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to the next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Lush hair, be beautiful.
Thanks for staying with us. So the Central Bank of Nigeria has put a limit on cash withdrawals starting from January 9th. It's saying that individuals cannot withdraw more than 100,000 naira. Companies cannot withdraw more than 500,000 naira over the counter. They're also saying that this redesigning of the notes will check inflation, counterfeiting, and corruption. In addition, they're also saying that in ATMs, you wouldn't have more than the 200 naira denominations during withdrawal. They also said that third-party checks above 50,000 naira shall not be eligible for payment over the counter, while the exempt limits of 10,000 naira on clearing checks will still subsist. Now, these are the new policies that CBN recently put out last week, Tuesday. Now, we still need to speak to CBN because we need to understand the reasoning, as I said, inflation, to check inflation and all that, and see how they plan to execute. But this morning, we'll be speaking with a financial and development economy expert, Mr. Tunji Olatunji, who will be giving us some insight into the pros and cons of this new monetary policy. And also, we'll be taking some phone calls and tweets to hear what Nigerians think about this, especially knowing the fact that political parties are complaining that this would definitely inhibit the logistics for the political electoral process. But what are your thoughts on this? How do you think this will work out? What does it even mean for you and I? Would it help us on the long run? You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. So, Mr. Olatunji, good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. We're so excited for this conversation because we've been trying to have this conversation in a while since last week, but we thought it was important to hear from an expert first before we then bring the conversation to maybe CBN and also Nigerians. But let's hear your thoughts on this new policy. What are your general thoughts on this new policy, and do you think it's going to help us?
Well, starting with the state of the Nigerian economy, this policy, if and when well implemented, would go a long way in the recovery of the Nigerian economy. I remember that sometimes ago, I was on your show, and we were discussing the impact of, the forex on the Nigerian economy and how it's been difficult for the inflation to be checked. And one thing that, I pointed out that time is that the Nigerian economy is largely informal, and therefore most of the monetary policies of the CBN, they have little or no significant impact when they are made. So it makes it appear like some of these policies are not effective. And you say, for instance, the CBN statistics says that 85% of the Nigerian currency is not even with the bank. And so it means if, for instance, the policy is made and it's supposed to have impact on 1 trillion naira of our economy, in natural sense, you only going to impact about 250 billion of that economy, because the other part, which is 85% of your currency, is not even within the control of the financial institutions and the central bank. So going this route is going to be helpful. It is high time we begin to look at issues as destructive citizens. It is high time we get bothered about the state of our Nigerian economy. And we must know that when we take these steps, they are actually going to help to strengthen and help us to recover more. And I will dwell more on the statistics that is available in the public space. Today, going by the NDIC report, not less than 99.4% of bank accounts have less than 500,000. What that simply says is that less than 3% of account holders have above 500,000 in their account.
Are you serious?
That is the NDIC report. So it means that bulk of the money in the account belongs to less than 3% of the account holders. If you use the 500,000 account balance as the threshold, and you divide that by the 20 working days you have in a month, then of course you'll be talking of just an average of 25,000 per person if you decide to withdraw on daily basis. If you want to look at the availability of all other withdrawal and payment channels, it means per day, someone with 500,000 cannot even draw more than 16,600 naira from his account on daily basis. And this cashless policy that Nigeria is trying to promote is not new. This started in 2012. In 2012, I was one of the major commercial banks in this country, and I know the uproar at that time when 150,000 became the threshold for withdrawal. Of course, there are going to be issues. People would raise issues, and it started with Lagos, Abuja, and some other 4 or 5 states. But today, what has happened, if you look at the CBN statistics, in the last 9 months, between January and September, what has happened to withdrawal with checks or check transactions in the bank, it has fell. It's not less than 6%. People are no longer really interested in these check transactions. And if you compare check transactions with POS transactions, with ATM transactions, with mobile transactions, with interbank transactions, all of them grew. Of particular interest is the POS transaction, for instance. Nigeria has experienced not less than 24% increase in our POS volume transaction in the last 9 months. That was even before the pronouncement of this policy. In terms of volume, we now have POS transactions that worth 6.1 trillion happened between January and September of this year, compared to 4.1 trillion in the last year. If you look at mobile transfer, it has grew over 100% in the last 9 months. When you look at our interbank transfer, it grew significantly with not less than 50%. But of all, only check transactions are fell because it is no longer attractive to the people. And that is why when we want to explain these policies, we must explain them based on empirical facts and not just mere emotion. I can tell you for free that the implication of this withdrawal limit would not impact the transactions of no less than 70 to 80% of account holders. Let me get a few more questions. You don't even get to withdraw it.
Let me get to a few more questions because we have a lot to unpack here. Yeah. Let me come to you.
So, Mr. Olatunji, according to the National President of Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, Victor Olojo, this will not impact that group of people favorably. He says that, such a restriction is something that is certainly going to affect the business of POS operators and other bank agents across the country. Do you disagree? And if you do, why?
That position is relative. It will only impact POS owners in view of the limit on transaction that is going to apply. In the last 9 months, the number of POS terminals in the country has grew by over 500,000 and has figured out about 1.4 million point of sale across all local governments in the country. How that will impact them is because now, today, as we speak, when you go to a POS terminal, there is literally no limit to the volume of transactions that can take place. So if there is a limit as to what volume can apply on POS in terms of cash transactions, of course, since their revenue or their profit is a function of the volume of transactions they make, it's going to impact that volume. But what are we saying? We are not saying people should no longer transact.
What we're simply saying is that the country should now begin to look at how bulk of our transactions will now be devoid of cash, which means you can take your cash to your POS terminal, a POS agent, and instead of demanding for cash, you could actually do the transfer and get it done. I will give you a very simple example that we can relate to. Before now, the trend is that everybody that wants to buy a recharge card, you go with vouchers all over the place. Today, vouchers are no longer attractive. People now want to do transfer. And what we are trying to implement in this country, which is long overdue, being the largest economy in Nigeria, is not peculiar to us. In terms of digital transaction of funds, in terms of mobile transaction of all forms, let me say digital transaction, Kenya is leading the pack in Africa, for goodness sake. Kenya. You won't tell me that people in Kenya are more literate. You won't tell me that people in Kenya are quite different. If Kenya can be leading the pack with its mobile wallet, M-Pesa, which has become a globally acclaimed and applauded innovation, nothing stops Nigeria from making it happen. In the last 10 years, between 2012 that this policy was introduced and now, Nigeria has equally witnessed significant impact on a number of the subsector of our economy. Today, we can talk about POS existence. The question is that if the cashless policy was not even introduced ab initio, would those jobs that POS created would have been there? Will the POS even exist? Before now, to get POS is like you want to get something that is a big deal. But today, we have no less than 1.4 million, like I rightly said. So what we begin to do, and like I said, like I've also advocated at a forum very recently, and I'm happy the CBN governor made the same position. Policies are not meant to be casted in stone.
Okay. Let me go on a break. I would like, because I have to go on a quick commercial break. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we still have our guests. Come on, sir, are you still there? So, yeah. As I was saying, right.
So for me, really, this new policy, for me, I think is a positive one. I see how it can help with our fight against corruption, but also people have said, so when our guest comes back, if he's able to, I've heard some of the complaints, and I think that they are valid complaints, or fears, and I think that they are valid because we have a large number of Nigerians that they say who do not have BVNs, they do not have accounts. So that's very important that we look into that. What would it mean for people like that? What would it mean for, I guess I talked about an economy being largely informal, and that means that, a lot of people, this informal, they're constantly, their transaction is mostly in cash. What does that mean? So for me, I feel that the infrastructure that we need to put in place to make this policy more effective has to be the first step that we take, because to just say, no, don't withdraw much more than 100,000, where you even have people who, when you enter the market today, people will tell you that you spend much more than that. I'm talking of just regular markets, buy yam, buy rice, blah, blah, blah. And then you cannot withdraw much more than 100. No, is it 100,000 for individuals? Yes, 100,000. Weekly, sorry, weekly. So it's 20,000 daily. It just does not make sense.
So for me too, those were my fears. Laudable policy on paper, but do we have the timing, is it the right timing? When the banks, no, because the CBN is a regulatory body. When you issue policies, it means that you've checked everything. Customers are constantly having unresolved transactions, unreversed transactions for months on end, and the e-system that you're relying upon is not as perfect as you'd want. It's not even near perfect. It's not near good, talk less of perfect. People are constantly, YK sits here, talks about the millions that she has to forgo after pursuing banks on end. You don't have a proper channel to check this. You can't just limit cash. like that, just like that, just
First
because,
of
you know,
all.
it's a great policy on paper. Then if you copy other countries that have done it and said, we must do it here, what is the purchasing power when it comes to the Naira? How much is 20,000 Naira daily?
Kenya, they are saying they didn't use foreign, they use Kenya.
How much is...
How much is your 20,000 Naira in the market?
So what I think we need to bring in an expert.
One dress
per
per
We have to wrap
child.
up the show. But that's all we can take on today's show. We'll bring in an expert properly to discuss this important policy that's going to affect you and I. That's all we can take on the show. Stay with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.